Boom, boom. Welcome to IFB exclusive. James, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming down here. We're going to talk a whole bunch of cool stuff. But before we do that, just to bring everybody up to speed, this is Interfleet Broadcasting exclusive. This is an offshoot branch from our regular show that we do live on Thursdays. Interfleet Broadcasting is our the mothership show, so to speak. I myself am New York Pete, and my partner, the Tipsy Toaster, Chris Moore, and we're the co-hosts of the bigger show. We both come from a 70s and 80s background, and so we love talking about the old stuff as well as the new. But James, you represent a franchise that is very dear to my heart, and that's of course Kolchak. And so welcome everybody to IFB exclusive. James, thanks for being here with us. And I wanted to just make sure that we have a little saying that we like to push forward, and that's always that fans fuel the fleet. So I'm just going to toast, and it's a little bit of a tease here, James, on what I'm going to show you. And it's a Kolchak mug, but it's from Moonstone, not your company yet. So I'm hoping that you come out with one of these too. So here's to everybody out there. Fans fuel the fleet. Dr. Macaulay is watching. Lola's watching. Thanks for joining us live, guys. A lot of people watch later. Our last show on IFB, James, we got over 16,000 views. So just to give you a heads up. So James, welcome to the show. You represent your own company, and that is Monstrous Books, and you're heavily involved with Kolchak. This is part of a campaign. So give us a little bit about your background. I know you're a fan, and tell us about your connection with Kolchak.
Well, the first thing I did with Kolchak was the 50th anniversary graphic novel back in 2022. I don't remember, but we started promoting it in 2021, so that's why I get the dates mixed up. But I had done a Kickstarter before that for an anthology called Classic Monsters Unleashed, and that was pretty successful. So I knew after that I wanted to do a comic book project. So I was thinking about Kolchak. So when I Googled Kolchak to look up some info about him, I realized then that the 50th anniversary of the Night Stalker was coming up that January. So I said, that's perfect. That would be perfect for a Kickstarter. So I pitched the idea to Moonstone, and they were down for it. And so we launched the Kickstarter the day before the 50th anniversary, and it really took off. So that's where it started. Yeah,
I got my copy. I was completely into this, and his book is fantastic. Congratulations. I know that you won some awards, and not to be modest or anything, but you are an award-winning writer in your own right, the Bram Stoker Award and 2 Rondo Awards. So there you go. Congratulations for having those. That's something that you don't have to carry on your back. That's fantastic. Thank you for doing that. And thanks for getting involved with Kolchak. I believe that your campaigns have led you now to bigger and better things when it comes to Kolchak. So tell us a little bit about that.
So a few months ago, I acquired the literary rights to Kolchak. So now Monstrous Books will be the exclusive home of Kolchak.
Wow.
And, we'll be putting out novels, novellas, comics, anthologies, the whole thing. And it's very exciting.
So tell me about this. Before we went on air, I showed you a little bit of my collection. Now, something like this, James, everybody's been dying to get their hands on a reissue, or for that matter, one of these. Yeah. And I know from doing my research, I know that you have a connection with Professor Dawidiak. Where did we go? Can we go somewhere with this?
It's supposed to be being reprinted this year, I think.
Okay.
I think it was supposed to come out last year, but it didn't come out. But it's definitely supposed to be coming out soon. So that's what I heard. Because I even said to Mark, if you need someone to publish it, I'll publish it. but he says that it's in the works, so we might be seeing it in a few months.
Okay, and then since you now with Monstrous Books, which is your company, you now have, and this is what caught my eye immediately, because I was part of the Kickstarter and the support and all that. But what I really zeroed in on, James, was the fact that you now have the license for Kolchak. The new home for the Kolchak books is with you. And so I was hoping that, you were involved with the 50th, right? And hopefully you'll be able to do something else similar, because this is great stuff. So what's your take on that?
You mean as far as what we're going to do next, or how?
In general, I mean, you have, obviously you got some things in general, and I'm hoping we can go a little bit outside the box.
Well, I know the next project is going to be a comic book thing. It's kind of similar to what we did with the 50th anniversary thing.
Cool.
Maybe bigger. We got some big names attached to it, so I think it's gonna be really cool. I can't give too much info about it, but we're already started work on it. So I'm hoping that we'll do another Kickstarter campaign in the fall.
Okay, cool. Now, what's your vision, with Kolchak? So I'm going to bring up there. So these are, the original books, which I obviously have a set. I've read them. I know that you're going to be involved with these, but what's your vision for Kolchak now that you can do something about it?
Well, I want to go back to the original and keep it, in the same timeline and very much in the spirit of the original book and the original TV show. I believe Moonstone was doing Kolchak more in the modern era, and I think he was dealing with, he had a cell phone and computers and things like that. And I know a lot of writers weren't happy with that they wanted to keep it, like in the 70s and have him, if he was, operating in the 2000s, that he would age appropriately. And that was kind of what we ended up doing with the 50th anniversary book.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of had a fight with Moonstone with that one, because the publisher wasn't happy with that. And I said, no, we have to do it, within the original timeline. We can't, I really don't want to do a modern Night Stalker, where Carl is, I guess he would be, if he's 50 years old now, he'd be born in 73 or 74, which would
Right.
make him my age and a Gen Xer. And I was like, that's weird. And I was like, no,
that's totally weird.
So we ended up, so that ended up being then the concept for the 50th anniversary book, was that we have Carl, who's born in 1922, and we have C stories throughout his life, and along the original timeline of the original Kolchak. So that's what I want to keep doing, and doing, stories set in the past. We'll probably have a lot of stories set in the 70s, but I really want to see what Carl's doing in the 80s, maybe in the 90s too, and what he was doing before the events of the Night Stalker, maybe in the 50s and 60s.
That is awesome. See, that's what you bring as a fan, I think, is this structure, the idea of, what, we need to respect the character and his context, and if we can move him along a little bit, but who he is, right? The original, that's so cool. And that's, I think, you can be very successful. The campaigns, real quick, you've got these awesome campaigns, and you were very, very successful. I know that the one I have up now, it's a screen grab. It's $106,000, and the one that was previous, that was $112,000. I mean, it's mind-boggling. So, yeah. James, what do you think? I mean, what's your impression when you see those numbers?
I'm blown away, because when we did the first one, I did not think we would hit $100,000.
Right.
$100,000 campaign seems just, totally beyond possibility. So, I was like, it's Kolchak, and this show has been off the air for 50 years. Will the fans show up for it? I knew once I started working on it, I began to realize that there is the big fandom
Right.
behind it, but to get to 100,000, you still have to have around 2,000 backers.
Right.
So I was blown away by that, and I was also blown away by all the writers and big name writers who were fans of Kolchak, and they were contacting me trying to get into the book. So it was really eye opening as far as how popular Kolchak still is, and how much they love him.
Well, that's just fantastic, and it says a lot because the character himself is really really dear to a lot of us, especially those that I was lucky enough. I'm slightly older than you are, James, and so I got to watch some of the latter part of that season. It was only one season. I got to see some of those episodes as they were airing live on TV.
Okay.
And I remember falling asleep on the later when they started scheduling later in New York. And I was like so afraid, I was petrified. It was so cool. You're attracted as a kid. It's like, oh my God, and there's a mummy. And it was just incredible. And then of course, afterwards in reruns when they were available on the VHS. And then, there's like that lore. And then you have, once in a while you get a Starlog magazine or a Fangoria, and they would talk about the episodes and stuff. But he's influenced a lot of people. Did he influence you? I know that you remember watching some of that stuff too. Did it influence you, James?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I became a journalist. So, I became a journalist and a writer and a horror writer. So, it really became, went full circle, as far as Kolchak. So yeah, I was always a big fan of Kolchak, but I was always a fan of like the fictional reporters like Clark Kent and Kolchak. So that also appealed to me. So I love this idea of like he's a hero, but he's also a writer,
Right.
So like he kills the monster and then he goes off and he writes the story. So that's very appealing to a writer, So it didn't work out for me in real life. I never got to do that as a reporter. But I get to
you
do
mean
that.
like the supernatural side? The writing you did, but not the supernatural thing, right?
No, I never run into any monsters or anything like that.
That might be okay. Let somebody else do it.
Yeah. So I'm happy about that. But that certainly shows like Kolchak and certainly like Superman and Clark Kent definitely led me to pursue that journalism as a career. So it definitely had a huge impact on my entire life. So yeah, absolutely. But I love Kolchak I don't remember exactly when I saw it for the first time. It was probably in the 80s when it used to like run as the late night show.
Mhm.
And I certainly was aware of it in the 90s too, when the X-Files came out, and it kind of had a little bit of a renaissance, and it was being played on cable. So Kolchak always came back every like decade, it seemed, and now it seems like it's more popular now than ever.
That's incredible. I do cosplay once in a while. When I do some conventions, I'll do Kolchak, and I don't care about whether or not anyone knows who I am, because you go to a lot of these conventions and there's a lot of anime and manga, and there's other franchises. They're very powerful, but every once in a while you'll run into someone that knows Kolchak and they just flip out, and there's like a moment that you bond with them. And I've had that happen many, many times. And when I go, I've recently started going to Chiller in New Jersey.
Okay.
And I cosplayed last year, and everybody just flipped out. Everywhere you went, everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's Kolchak!" And it's just so much fun. So you're going to work, at least from what I understand, your your goals for now are a little more focused on getting the original novels out. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, our first project is to get the reprint of the original novel by Jeff Rice. That's what the last campaign was about. We just wanted to just do like a really nice edition for the Night Stalker. because there was never really a really nice edition of it. It was released just as a paperback only thing, and there were a lot of typos even in the original manuscript, and then in the Moonstone manuscript, it got even worse. I don't know what the story was with that, but we really wanted to go in there and fix all the typos and all the errors, and there were some deleted passages in the Moonstone edition too, so we put all that back. So we wanted to be as faithful to the original manuscript as possible, but also, add stuff, add illustrations. So we have illustrations from Russ Braun. We'll have at least 6 illustrations, and then we have essays by David Dasmalkian, Rodney Barnes, and Mark Dawidziak is going to write a profile on Jeff Rice for it. So it would be a really nice book. But people ask me too about Night Strangler, and I just have to look into the rights with that one because there was a different situation with the Night Strangler.
Okay.
Because the Night Stalker was written first, and then they made the TV movie. So the TV movie was based on Jeff Rice's then unpublished novel. The Night Strangler then was written by Richard Matheson as a teleplay first, and then Jeff wrote a novelization of the script. So
Okay.
I'm not sure what the rights situation is. I believe the Night Strangler has been reprinted, and it's possible that Jeff Rice does have the copyright for the Night Strangler, and if he does, then we should be able to reprint that as well.
That's awesome. That's great news. Why let all this stuff die when there's still a strong fandom? And you've seen that. We've all seen it. And I mean, these great compilations and books that are coming out and that you're working on is actually proof in the pudding. And it's so great that you're doing this. And I know that a lot of the fans that are part of IFB are also they're nostalgic for some of this stuff as well. James McCoy and Mike DeBruin and some of the guys that are on now with us. Thanks for joining us, guys. And I'm here with James, and we're talking about how Monstrous Books now has the rights to the written word of Kolchak the Night Stalker. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So you know what? We actually, I'm gonna put this up because I think it's really cool. This is part of I believe the latest campaign, the club membership card. So it's still available. You can still get it. So tell us real quick, James, about the campaign, because it's going to end in, I think, a couple of weeks or something.
Well, it ended technically last week,
Okay.
but we're able to. Kickstarter just started this new feature that you're able to collect late pledges.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the hardcover is limited edition. It was limited to 1,973 copies, but we have 30 left. So I left the late pledges open so we can get off of those last 30 books to fans. So after that, then they're gone. So we've been selling a few. We sold maybe another 30 through the late pledges. So I figure we will get those 30 will be gone in a few weeks. So yeah, definitely, because I'm not going to print any more of this edition. I mean, it will be available in some form later on,
but not this one.
But not yet, because it's going to be really nice hardcover. It's going to be a hardcover. I'm going to have the painted edges, the red painted edges, and I have the built-in bookmark and all that stuff. So I won't be printing that again. So yes, this edition is only available, here. And once these last 30 books are gone, that'll, I'm hoping that they'll only be available like the companion book, and then you'll have to pay like $500 to get them.
Yeah. You mean like this one, right? This one that's just ridiculous. It's a great book, though. I don't know if you have one, but this is really cool.
Mark sent me the PDF because I wasn't gonna buy.
Yeah, it's really hard to get. It's just crazy. Really I don't understand it. It is, trust me, it is. You'll enjoy it. When you read it, you'll see it's a heck of a lot of fun. Really it's really, really cool. There's the classic pictures are in it, of course, and the breakdowns and stuff. But so you do have an exclusive for us. Part of your campaign, you came up with an original design for a T-shirt. and you happen to be wearing it for the show. So
Okay.
let us see what it looks like, man. It's really cool. Oh,
Yeah, get out.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, those will be available. Those still available through the campaign, and they'll definitely be available after the campaign too. So, but
Very
it came
cool.
out really good. So Russ Braun did the art, and
It's really, really cool.
Atkinson did the design. So,
Oh man, very, very cool. So Dave Francoeur is with us, Paul is with us. Thanks for joining, guys. James, of course, all of you guys that are watching us live, thank you very much for joining. Everybody that watches us later on in rerun, thank you for watching. The last IFB went to 16,500 views worldwide. Our last IFB exclusive, I believe it's hovering around 6,000 something views. Thank you everybody for watching. Really appreciate your support. James, I mean, this can only get better. I'd asked you about possibly, a lot of the fans are into trading cards, especially the non-sports stuff. And we never got any kind of Kolchak cards, which is a shame. It's a missed opportunity. I'm sure that you could come up with, you have so many great artists that have been working with you. I'm sure you could come up with a really cool set of Kolchak cards.
Yeah, I'm actually doing cards for my last campaign when I did for my Dr. Omega comic book, and we're doing a set of I think 5 cards, and for each issue we do, we're going to add a bunch of cards, so we'll have a whole nice set. So I want to see how those come out. And I that's when I was a kid, that's all I did was collect comic books and baseball cards. So I loved that. So I wanted to do cards. So with the Dr. Omega campaign, that was the first time I'm doing cards. So I'm actually going to get them printed soon. So hopefully they come out really cool. But I would love to do Kolchak cards. That would be really cool.
Oh yeah. Well, if you ever need any help, you just let me know, and we'll whatever we can do to help get the word out, or help any kind of ideas or whatever it may be. That would be very cool. I know the fans they'll eat it up. I mean, look at the numbers that you have. It's proof positive that the fans want some of the stuff. We want to keep it alive, and maybe even inspire some new fans as well, right? There's got to be others that are the horror genre, as you all know, James, is big. It's really big, and it's not stopping for anybody. So, hopefully this will continue. George G is in the house. George, thanks for joining us. Thank you everybody for watching. James, let's plug everything that's going on. Let's talk real quick where we can get Kolchak stuff. Let's plug your monstrous books as well, and your other projects, please.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can go to monstrous.books.com, and you can also get the old Kolchak stuff, like the 50th anniversary graphic novels. We still have a few of those. Actually sold out of all the one-shot comics, but we also added an anthology in this new campaign, which will be was like the pro stories from the deluxe edition I did for the 50th anniversary. So I'm breaking that out into its own ebook, but there's going to be some new stories in there too. But yeah, I mean, if you go to monstrous.books.com, there's links to everything there, to all the other Monstrous books and some of the Kolchak stuff. And I think we have some Kolchak merch there too. And you get links to the campaign. But if you go to the campaign, if you just go to Kickstarter too and just Google search Kolchak, you'll find the campaign. And like I said, there's only 30 books left. So, grab them now, because they're going to go. And the Kolchak stuff always sells very well. I'm selling a lot of the 50th anniversary books through my website. So I figured they'll probably be sold out too, probably this year. And I usually sell very well at conventions. Yeah. So the Kolchak fans are really amazing, and they really show up. So that's what I'm really happy about.
Cool. So then as we come to the first stage, I guess, of the closing, I'd shown these on the regular show. This is the Moonstone. You're taking over, right? Moonstone now is past. I bring this up because this is what they were doing, right? They were like, putting together either 1 or 2 stories into one of these. They also did graphic novels They did actual comic books. Is that something that you are going to do with your company or not?
No, we'll be doing comics, graphic novels, anthologies. Yeah, I probably will. If we do like novellas, I'd probably want to bundle them together, a few of them to make a full book. But I'd like to see full on novels,
Wow.
just
Oh, that's great.
like short pieces. Um, I have an idea for a series that we might do. So that's something else that we probably wouldn't announce on next year, but it
We
would
got
be
a scoop.
it would be
Excellent.
more along the lines of prose series for Kolchak.
Oh,
So
wow.
we're definitely going to do. I mean, and there are a couple of people who approached me about non-writing Kolchak stuff, like in other areas, other mediums. I don't want to say too much.
Is that possible, James? Is
Yeah,
that
as long
something?
as it's based on the book, we can do other Kolchak merch and stuff, as long as it's based on the book, right? So, but the book has everything that that in the TV movies and the Carl and Tony. So it wouldn't be any different, than any as long as if we base it on the book. But we can do other stuff. We could do theoretically like a Kolchak video game or a Kolchak board game and stuff, as long if it's based on the literary rights that we have.
Interesting. So can you just elaborate a little bit on what does that mean? Does that mean, I mean, in the books, if I'm not mistaken, he wears the seersucker suit.
Well, I don't think he ever described. There's very little description in the book about what he wears or his car. He only refers to his car as his car. He never tells you what the make of the car is or anything like that. Although in the TV movie, in the Night Stalker, he doesn't drive the yellow
Right.
Mustang. He drives the blue Camaro anyway,
Right.
so it's a different car. He never. I don't think he ever describes what he's wearing in the
So
book.
does that give you liberty? Can you then borrow? Could you? Is it possible? We can
I mean,
keep them, right?
with his because that's not something you can copyright. Like anyone can wear a blue seersucker suit, and it's not that it's not like that's something exclusive to.
See, those are the trademarks, right, of who he is mentally. That's what
you have to go with the suit.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
When they did that reboot, when they didn't use the suit,
yeah,
we'll definitely be using the suit, and that's the most important thing, really.
All good news. This is all excellent news. I know that you've pursued other IPs, other licenses for other characters aside from Kolchak. And as we come to the close, I know that you were a big fan of The Greatest American Hero, and it's complicated. It's not easy to get this stuff. So you got Kolchak, and we're thrilled that there's new blood. There's a little bit. It's a turnover, right? You've been out. The torch has been passed to you, James, and we wish you the best of luck. Do you have anything in closing to share with us?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is tough when you're dealing with IP. So luckily, there are times when the IP is still owned by the author. In this case, like in Kolchak, Jeff Rice always owned the literary rights to Kolchak. So then it's a little easier to deal with instead of dealing with a corporation. It's rare that the author gets to keep their rights, especially once that IP is picked up as a movie or a TV show. I mean, if I want to say anything, is like, and because I do all this stuff on my own, and I've dealt with publishing companies, and not all publishing companies are great people. So
Sure.
if you can ever hold on to your rights, definitely do that. Because I've had 2 publishing deals, and both times I had to get my rights back.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Wow. Well, so that's another great scoop. And James, I hope we get to see you at some of the conventions. I believe you're a New Yorker, New York Comic Con, and a lot of other conventions go on here. So I'm hoping that you bring Monstrous Books and Kolchak to some of the cons. We'd love to see that. So good luck to you. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Last words, James.
Viva Kolchak.
Fans fuel the fleet. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you again soon. Don't forget to tune in on Thursdays. And James, hope we can see you back on IFB, the longer show, and we can get into more details.
Okay.
But thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.